Hello and welcome to Sips by the Well. My name is Janelle. I am your host, and today is take two. For those of you who may have tuned in when Jaden was on before, unfortunately, I have never done this before, but I accidentally recorded the whole episode on mute. Super not good on my behalf, but thank God Jaden was willing to hop back on here and re-record the episode with us. Or with me rather. So today, first of all, say hi since nobody knows who you are since they just saw your face but didn't hear your voice.
Hi, I'm Jaden Larson.
And how old are you, Jaden?
I'm about to be 16.
Okay. Jaden is one of my youth students from the youth program that I run called Generation Shift. And let's see, I met Jaden probably about 2 years ago, or maybe a little more. In a program that I used to run called The Landing at the church. And when I met Jaden, first of all, today we're going to be talking about the importance of community and like, why is it important to have a support system when you're trying to change and when you're just trying to have a better life, walk in a better direction. And so Jaden was attending The Landing. His dad attended a class there on Thursday nights. And so he went into the teens class or whatever. And so that's where I met Jaden. When I first met Jaden, oh my gosh, Jaden was super, didn't want to be bothered pretty much. I feel like you talked to Brian and stuff.
Yeah. I think it was more of the people I know and the people I was comfortable with at the time. And I did not know Janelle at the time, so I think that's why the
weirdness came in.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm super pushy, and I'm like, hey, like all kind of loud and animated. And so when people first meet me, especially teenagers, they don't really know how to take me. And Jaden is like, kind of like just stays to himself type of person. And so I just like walked up on him like, hey, and he's like, who is this lady?
Right.
And so that was a couple of years ago. But since then, as you can see, Jaden and I, like, he's basically my nephew now. Like we hang out outside of the youth group. He followed me. So I did The Landing for roughly a year and a half. And then God put it on my heart to The Landing was a great program, but the curriculum was really old and they weren't willing to change it. And if I'm going to be volunteering my time, I want to make a difference. And I'm sure at one time it was a great curriculum, but it was written in the early 2000s. And so it wasn't really dealing with modern day issues, like before the internet, basically. And these teenagers need things that are more relevant to what they're dealing with. So God had laid it on my heart to start writing a curriculum while I was still there. And I did teach a couple of my lessons here and there, just to see if the kids would be receptive to it. And they seemed to like open up a lot more and share. And so I kept writing. And then when God said it was time, I stepped out and started my own. So now I have what's called Generation Shift, and 4 of my leaders came with me, and Jaden and a couple other of the students started coming there. And it's for teens ages 13 to 18. And we meet on Tuesday nights in Rancho Cordova right now. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jaden. Like, where do you live? Where are you in?
I live in Sacramento, just the greater Sacramento area. And I go to school in downtown Sacramento in a independent study school that you only need to attend regularly 2 days a week and do your homework at home and assignments at home. And it's very independent.
Well, pretty much Jaden is very mature for his age, and the public school system is kind of like a one size fits all. They fail kids, I feel like, in a lot of ways because they don't tweak the system to be that means it's on. Look, he's all making sure that it's on. He's like, I don't want to do this all over again. They very much just expect every kid to learn in the same way.
Right.
And so that was frustrating to Jaden. So he kept getting in trouble because nobody would take the time out with him to like sit down and explain things, face to face with him. And so he was getting in trouble at school, trying a new school and just, bouncing around or whatever. And now that he's found this school,
right,
like he's doing so good. Like I'm hecka proud of how good he's doing. Tell us about how the teachers are there.
The teachers are very willing to do anything to help you. It is, I don't really know how to describe it, but they're always there to help you. If you need help, they will, go in, any matter to help. It's a very one-on-one school, and I believe that the one-on-one is very helpful for my needs, to be able to get my assignments done and to be able to, wellly complete the assignments. And I think with the teachers, it's a very big difference from what I was used to switching around schools or trying to find somewhere like that will be ready to help me, that is, there with my needs. And I think with public school or high schools, it's like they are not available in the ways that my teachers are available for the one-on-one help.
Yes, some people just learn in different ways. Like for myself, I have to do. Oh dang, you swatter. That's fine. I just I have to learn by doing things. Like you can't just show me something. I don't get it unless I actually do it myself and do it several times, or I don't get it. And so I would get in trouble at school too, because I would be talking or I would just be not paying attention, disrupting the class. And so again, Jaden didn't learn in the same way that the other kids learn, to where it's just like, okay, this is the assignment, now do it. He needed a little extra help. Yeah. He needed just a little extra, somebody, sitting down with him and saying, no, look, it's like this, and explaining it to him, because now he's doing really well in school.
And accountability.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely when I was in public school, I didn't have close as a relationship to my teachers. I wouldn't have any of my teachers' phone numbers. They can't text me saying, oh, you need to complete this, like right now, you need to come to school. Like I didn't really have any of those tools, or, and the accountability to, be able to be like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Like, can you please help me? And they'll be like, of course I can help you, instead of,
you should have already had this finished. Yeah.
Oh, this should have been done, blah, blah, blah. Like, please come with this done. And, I think I really need someone to sit down with me, be able to, teach me in my ways of learning.
Yeah. So that has been really helpful in him. And that's why we're talking about today, the importance of community and like finding where you fit in. And so this Generation Shift is like a support type group. Right. And we come and we learn healthy ways to deal with things like emotions, how to deal with things in our past, how to deal with frustrations at school without flipping out and fighting folks. Outbursts, things like that. And so it gives us both. I mean, even though I'm supposed to be the teacher or whatever, it helps me a lot. Like he said, just having the accountability, looking forward to it, knowing that we're going to revisit things that we already talked about. And if I'm not doing it, like what kind of example am I going to be?
Yeah. Well, I think the cool thing about Generation Shift is that we're kind of like all the teacher. We're kind of like all the leader. We're like teaching each other things that we didn't know or that we should know, or advice for each other. And it's not just like, Janelle as the leader teaching us what to do or how do I handle my emotions or this. We all kind of give feedback, and we all kind of seem like, oh, this seems like the right way we should do things, or have a discussion instead of, you just
talking at you.
schooling us and
Yeah.
giving us a lecture than us leaving.
Yeah, no, it's more of a like
connection
and like a little family. We talk about, well, like when it was the holidays, we talked about like, what did you guys do for Christmas? Like, where we get to like openly share, and we're a part of one another's lives, even though we're not with one another every day. But like Jaden got his permit the other day, woo, Jaden, and a new car. And so, it was like, I was excited waiting to hear, did you pass the test? Just like getting to know parts of their everyday lives and to be more involved than just, hey, I'll see you on Thursdays at church.
Right.
Like I know some kids and myself just need a little extra more, like church is great, and I'm not downing it at all. I go to church a lot of times a week, but I think especially large churches, people slip through the cracks and they don't feel seen and they don't feel heard. And I think that's super important in life altogether, especially if you come from a background of, like I came from a lot of trauma in my background. Jaden has that really, cat, get down. Usually I lock this cat in the room, and that's why she's doing the most right now. Sorry, y'all. Jaden comes from a good background, but his parents did get a divorce, and his parents' divorce affected him. I mean, of course it's going to, because you go from having two parents every single day in the household to now you only have one, and then you see the other one every now and then. And so it leaves you feeling with, leaves you with these emotions. And especially, how old were you when they got the divorce?
13, maybe 12, 13.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's a really pivotal age for teenagers. Hormones are starting to kick in, and you're becoming a man or whatever. And so it just gives us a healthy place and a safe environment to where we can process those emotions and talk about them. And like he said, offer each other like, well, this is what worked for me, and this is what worked for me. And us leaders, as being older or having experience, to be able to say, look, if you don't address this now, you're going to be old like me, and you're going to be jacked up from it. And then you're going to make bad decisions in your life as you get older, out of those hurts and out of those things that are left unaddressed. And so, yeah, I think that, like it really, like I said, it doesn't only just help the kids. I think it also helps. It helps us.
Yeah.
As well.
As much as us kids are excited to come on Tuesdays, I think the adults are also a little bit more excited.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't do it. So the time period in between the transition from the landing to generation shift starting, I think was like 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah.
And even the adults were calling me like, are we going to do this? Like, because it helps us, like we look forward to it. It's a safe space where we can, like we hear about Kevin and Michelle's, the crap going on with their daughter in the car, and you know what I'm saying? And just, things going on in people's everyday life, and just knowing that when we go next week on Tuesday, somebody's going to ask me, how am I? Mm-hmm. And just, it's important to have community. It's important to have people that, love you, and that people that care about you. Like you can tell people all day long about Jesus, but if you don't be Jesus to people, they're never really going to, they're just not going to get it. Like, we should be the hands and feet of God as we should be. So, I know that I've watched you guys, like the other kids in the program too, drastically change, just like hecka open up more. Like one of them barely used to, barely used to answer any kind of questions. And now he answers not only just questions, but like in depth,
opening up.
Yeah. It's just, it's amazing to watch it. And
it's amazing what a small community can do.
Yeah.
I mean, just proof of how I was before I went to a private school or a smaller school, with the help I have there and the small community we have, at our group. And I just think that in all of the small community groups I'm in, I think it's very, very helpful for me as a person, but everyone's different.
Yeah, but just to to grow and to change and to just become a better person and to just stay focused and stay on track and, be able to have people to celebrate wins with, and then also handle things that aren't so great, just to have people that are there to like vent about it and talk about it and be able to process those emotions, process the things that are losses, so to speak, I got in trouble at school. This is what happened. I didn't, as Jaden said, use the tools that, given, like Jaden said, Jaden's in a really good therapy now. He goes to a really good therapy and he shares his therapy notes with me.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it because I'm happy because it shows me all of it is kind of going hand in hand. And that's really helped him a lot in his becoming a man. Like I'm watching him
journey.
Yeah, in his journey. I'm watching him become a man, like in front of my eyes. Me and Michelle were talking about it. She's like, the kids are all getting so big. We sound old when we say that, but it's true. Like one of them used to be shorter. Now he's like a foot taller. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really is. It's amazing to just do life with people, and that's what God's intention was for us, to have other people to do life with. We're called the body of Christ for a reason, because, the arm can't say to the hand, or the hand can't say to the arm, I don't need you. Yeah, you wouldn't have nothing to hang on to if you didn't have the arm, and so that's the purpose of, just having, everybody there and just, having the community. And then also being able to learn from one another and learn from old people's mistakes. I'll say that, like our mistakes, and be able to say, like, look, if you keep doing this, this is what this is going to end up. And that we've walked through enough of it with these teenagers that they trust what we're saying, that we're not just saying it to say it, that we really do know what we're talking about. Because God doesn't want to teach us through pain, but he will use it if, if we're hard-headed.
Yeah.
We'll have to go through our own crap. I mean, we've had a couple of teenagers that used to come and now they don't come anymore. And I mean, I talked to some of them, and they're not necessarily doing terrible, but they're also not necessarily doing wonderful either. They're not really thriving and doing as good as they could be doing. So a couple of weeks ago, we went to
the break room,
and that was awesome. So we've been talking about emotions and how to handle emotions and not let our emotions handle us. And so we were talking about anger, because it's one that a few of us struggle with. And we went to a smash room, a break room. Tell us, was that awesome, Jaden?
It was pretty awesome. I think that was probably the best lesson that has ever been taught or said. It was just a very hands-on, which I am a hands-on person. I need to see, I need to do it, I need to feel around. So that was just an awesome experience.
Yeah, I think so too.
We all very much enjoyed it.
Yeah. So basically, if you've never been to a smash room, it's you get to wear these like goggles and a helmet, and a face shield and stuff, and gloves, and you go into this room and you get to play music and just they give you all kinds of stuff to break, like printers and glass bottles and a windshield.
Just other materials that you're just allowed to break.
Yeah.
Well, some.
So he says some because there was this plastic bin that all the bottles were sitting in. And apparently you weren't supposed to break that. And Jaden was beating the crap out of it. And the man comes in, he goes, dude, did you break my bin? And you're like, oh, whoops, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to break the bin.
Well, I mean, everything in there, I thought you were supposed to break.
He tore it up. It was like in pieces, like flying everywhere. It was so funny. And then he comes in and he's like, everything's already broken. You guys still have 20 minutes. I'm all, load us up with some more.
Yeah.
Because it's a good way to let out anger. And they gave you like bats and golf clubs, and we got to break windshields, and it just was cool.
It felt very healthy.
Yeah. Well, just learning how to do things in a controlled environment. You know what I mean? Not punch walls, as Jaden used to have a problem with doing. And then he went to this rehab place and they taught him. We have an inside joke about Pizza boxes.
Pizza boxes.
Tell us about the pizza boxes.
Yeah, so I went to a rehab facility for about 2 months, and I went there because I was having a lot of drugs and alcohol problems and addictions, and I was just kind of not going down the right road for a little bit. And I was in this program, and I was having a lot of emotions like in my hands. My hands would get hot, and I just would get the feeling to like punch a hole in the wall, and it's just so stupid. I mean, I don't think in the right mind of me now I would go and punch a wall. But I was doing that so much, and it was, disrupting their property and everything. So they decided to let me, use these pizza boxes, since we would get pizza from Costco every single Friday, and I would just collect all the pizza boxes and go take them into my room. And then it was a really not healthy habit, actually, because it just led for me to, keep on allowing me to use my hands. But it was definitely a better substitute, I would say.
Yeah.
And they were okay with it. I wouldn't get in trouble. And I can tell them, like, hey, I want to go use my pizza boxes. And they're like, okay, we'll take you to your room. So
yeah, so I tease Jaden all the time, and I'm like, you need some pizza boxes, because that's like the little inside joke.
yeah,
Because
the running joke.
yeah, the little running joke. So because I know about it, I was waiting while he was there. I got to talk to him a couple times on the phone. His dad called me on three-way. Like I said, I've gotten really close to Jaden, even in just to his family, to his little sister, and like at Christmas time, we went and did Christmas lights together, had dinner just as a family and stuff. And so these kids really have become my family.
And it's different, because just in the beginning of the podcast, you were saying how we were clashing when we first met. And I think it was like that the time after, maybe the time after that. And then I think you started allowing me to show myself. And I think that's when we started really connecting and being there for each other.
Well, I'm appreciative of it, because I was very much like Jaden when I was a teenager.
With the pizza boxes?
Not quite pizza boxes, but yeah, in a lot of ways. I was handling my emotions not healthy. I was headed down not such a great path. But I had a lot of things going on at home. I came from a broken home. There was a lot of abuse going on. And so I was acting out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was hanging out with drug people and started dabbling in drugs and finding solidarity or whatever in boys and things like that. And so I can identify with these teenagers because I was one of those teenagers. And so, God always uses the broken places in our lives, if we allow him to reach back and to help somebody else. And that's my hope for these kids while they're in this program. I hope once they turn 18 and they graduate, whatever, from Generation Shift, that they'll come back and volunteer and mentor with the kids.
I 100% would.
Yeah.
Because I'm already thinking about my future job, and I'm pretty sure I want to become some sort of therapist, or some sort of helping kids that really need help. Kids that don't have a support person or a support group, or someone that's going to check up on them on the daily, or
they have, once you become over 18, they have what's called a Big Brother program.
Mm-hmm.
And you it's already a thing that's already happening. And to where you get assigned to a kid and you pick them up. They're usually kids without a dad, or kids that don't have a stable, a community at home. And you just pick them up and you go play baseball with them, or go, you know what I mean? Just spend time with them, and it's a really good program. It's called the Big Sister, Big Brother program.
And it's in Sacramento?
Oh yeah, for Sacramento for sure. Yeah. And so that, just mentoring a kid, and just kind of, especially a kid that was like you and was headed in the wrong direction, because then you can be dude, I did that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then just using the areas where you were once broken. That's, the Bible says that he promises us beauty for ashes. And if we'll just give those things to him and we'll do the work to get better ourselves, he will allow all of those things that the enemy tried to use to take us out and tried to take us down with, and allow us to help bring others out of the fire, help bring others to where, just help them, like that's the reason I do the things that I do with the teenagers, with the women that I mentor. I love encouraging people just because it comes from a true heart that like I was there at one point. I listened to I went to a conference not that long ago, and the man said something super profound that I was like, that's it. He said, you are most qualified to help the person that you once were. So like if you struggled with, it's just like in Alcoholics Anonymous, your sponsor has to be somebody that used to be an alcoholic.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like it has to be somebody, because for me, and maybe this isn't for everybody, but for me, if you haven't walked through something, I don't really want to hear it. Like, I don't want to hear it.
I agree completely.
You know what I'm saying? Not being mean, because there are people out there like, I used to do juvenile prison ministry when I lived in South Carolina, and I used to go into the juvenile prisons and talk to the teenagers because I had been there before.
Yeah.
But there was this really nice little lady that used to go with me, and obviously she had never been to prison, but they loved her and she was super sweet. She was kind of like a grandma to them. And so like they looked forward to that. But for the most part, the innocent one. But for the most part, people want to feel connected by a way of like, okay, they know what I'm going through.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why I clicked with you so much, is because, you've been there. You've been the road that I was going down.
I went way down.
Maybe a little bit too far down the road.
Thanks,
but
thanks.
I'm just
kidding. No, really. I mean, it's the truth. And that's why we do these things, because we hope to try to help them to, while they're veering off, to kind of bring them back to the better road, to just like say like, dude, if you don't do something different, you're going to end up in jail.
And I believe that without the small groups that I have and the small communities of help, I don't think I could have turned around, did a U-turn.
Yeah.
If you understand, I think that with the group I had and with that rehab, with all of the support, and they felt like a family. It felt like I woke up every day to my family.
Yeah.
And it was just so what I needed. And it just set me off on a whole different level. It completely the whole other road. It was just
so I really saw a change in him when he came back from that, because he was just not, he was very angry and very just defiant, and you could tell him nothing. And like he would start doing good for a little while, and then something would happen, usually a girl. Threw you under the bus right there.
Yeah, you did.
Whatever. That's usually what happened to me too. So, just like usually something like that, just something teenager-ish. And then, or like he got in trouble at school, and then you'd just be like, forget it all. You know what I mean? And and not be able to hop back on the bike and keep riding. And I think him going and getting away for that 60 days or whatever, how long he was there, it kind of just gave him a reset.
Yeah.
Because he's been on a much better path since then.
It taught me that when things go bad, it doesn't always have to be bad. I can have a bad moment, or I can have a bad day, or I can get news that I don't like. And the biggest thing was every single day I asked, when am I going home? I had to talk to my therapist every single day. The number one question was, when am I going home? When are you going to call my mom to tell her to come pick me up? And every single phone call, hey, when are you going to come pick me up? When am I going home? And I was so uncomfortable there. And I learned how to feel comfortable while feeling uncomfortable. And when I started doing that, that's when I started getting comfortable. And that was around 30 or 40 days. And they say it takes around 30 days to start a new program. And it really did. And it really showed me that I can, when things go bad, there can be a different turnaround. That I can go and talk to someone and use my tools that they taught me, and to completely just turn around. Instead of, oh, I had a terrible day today. Nothing went my way. I'm just going to say, forget it all, and just go down my road again. But that was just so comfortable for me. That was what I was comfortable with, was just when something bad happens, that was, all right, forget it then. Let it go. But now it's, something bad happens and I want to change it and I want to support it and I want to go around it through a whole different way. And I think that's just insane for me to be saying that. I wouldn't think I would be saying that from the route that I was going, but miracle of God really just set it away.
Yeah. And I think, like he said, having to push past that feeling of uncomfortable and just kind of sit in it, because in all reality, comfortability doesn't change us.
Yeah.
Like it takes us being pressured. It takes us being stretched. It takes us, and Jaden is a hard worker. Like I've seen him work. He's a hard worker. When he puts his mind to do things, he does it. But with the attitude he had, he wouldn't have been able to keep a job. Because once it got uncomfortable or somebody told him something he didn't want to hear,
walk out immediately.
Exactly.
Open the door and walk out.
Exactly.
That was my thing.
Exactly. And so I think he's learned how to, okay. And I would try to tell him, like, Jaden, when you have a job, you can't just walk out. They'll fire you. Mm-hmm. And then when you try to go get another job, they're going to be like, dude, don't hire that dude. He just walks out when things get hard. Yeah. Things are going to get hard. Like there's going to be uncomfortable situations in everything. Like, even with this program, I was so scared to start this. Like, and I thought, oh my God, what if nobody comes? Or, well, I knew Jaden would come. He always has my back. But I'm just like, what if nobody comes? And we still have a very small group. But I know that it's as it's supposed to be. God has it, it's supposed to be. And it will grow as it's supposed to grow.
Wait till next Tuesday.
Yeah, next Tuesday, there's going to be more kids. I'm excited. So, and I'm just taking it one day at a time, because these boys, because we only have boys right now, they needed this small intimate setting to get comfortable with each other, to form better relationships with one another, and to just get more comfortable to open up. Now, even when new kids come in, they'll be like
able to help and
exactly
support the new kids that come in
that aren't just comfortable.
Just like when I was in the rehab I went to, like I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm comfortable. I'm kind of understanding myself in a way. I'm on my journey. I wake up happy, and I grew. I was the kid that wouldn't say nothing in the group. I would walk out every single time I would get mad. I was just the troubled kid for a while. And it turned around. I was the leader. I was up there leading all the groups. I was getting points instead. I would get greens instead of reds.
And when the new kids came in,
I was there to support, and I was there to give them what they need. Like even when they come in, they don't have supplies for shower. I can go, since they trusted me, I can go and get them supplies and get them comfortable in their room, give them a journal, wake up the next morning and go to their room and tell them this is what we're going to do today. And it was just a whole different thing. It was like I was such a role model, and it gave me a purpose, and I didn't even want to leave once the time came. Once I knew they were coming to pick me up, I was like, I don't want to go home. I literally called my mom and said,
y'all know you don't have to come get me. Y'all just stay here for a while. Yeah. Well, and like he said, it gave him a feeling and a sense of purpose. And I think that once we get a sense of belonging, it really just does make a big difference. And some of the kids that used to come to the landing, they didn't want to come. They came because their parents were attending Celebrate Recovery, and so they had to come. Like one of the kids that comes, I don't think he wanted to come at all. And now he never misses. Like he's always there with us. And like, again, he shares, he's a lot more open, and it just
even rides his bike in the rain there. He is really.
We tried to pick him up, okay? So don't make it like we.
No,
I asked him. Yeah, he was like, "No, it's cool." I'm all, "Dude, it's heck raining." He's like, "No, it's fine. I got a rain jacket."
And see,
that's
how much it really means to us.
Exactly.
We really look forward to that.
Yeah,
and he really looks forward to that. So he's determined to get there
on his bike in the rain.
I 100% respect that.
I do too, and I'm loving watching the kids grow, watching us as adults grow.
Even the kids watching the adults grow.
Yeah.
Some adults did not know how to communicate.
Well, a lot of the adults didn't
even talk, would not know how to start a conversation. It was more like me trying to start a conversation with them. Now the adults are, schooling me or telling me how to do something, or, in a positive, good way.
Yeah.
And it's just a really amazing it's really amazing looking at it, because I remember when you were starting it, and I was like, man, I hope this works for her. I really hope
it doesn't suck.
I really hope there's like a turnout for this, and
Me too.
even as just us, the same people, continuous coming. Next week there should be more kids, and maybe the week after that there'll be more kids.
And honestly, I would go if just one of them showed up, because that's what God does for us. And again, I know how bad we all need it. Just the meeting with each other, the family feel. And I mean, what if somebody had a hard week and then we don't come? You know what I'm saying? Like, I hated it. So at Christmas time, we took 2 weeks off because Christmas Eve fell on a Tuesday, and then New Year's Eve was the next Tuesday. And so we took 2 weeks off. And I'm telling you, it felt like forever.
That was pretty hard. I remember.
Yeah, I was like, man, I feel like it's been forever since we've seen each other, just because just those couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Even just a week is hard enough. It's Monday afternoon. I'm like, man, why can't it just be Tuesday already?
Yeah, I very much look forward to it.
Yeah. What are some things you would change differently in our program? Or it doesn't have to be like in a negative way, it can also be in a positive way.
I would like to eventually have a larger space, because I have speakers that I would like to come in and like tell their testimonies. I have friends that are like Christian rappers.
That'd be cool.
That they can come and like do a show for you guys. I would like also for it to be more space so that we could like do activity things.
I was thinking it would be cool if we had a little like, the room that we do the lesson in and we can eat in, and then like a basketball hoop.
Exactly.
We can all like take a little break and go play basketball
it's funny, before we started where we were, I was looking at parks. Like, that's how desperate I was. I was like, okay, if we don't have a building, we'll do it at a park. And I went around to every park around here and wrote if they had a basketball hoop, and wrote if they had a covered thing to where we could eat under, and like picnic tables, just because, like he said, like before at the landing, they would play basketball before and after. And so again, I would love for there to be basketball to be able to play there. Maybe just a place where we could do like activities, like the place that we do it at now is small, and it's limited space, and like because of all of the tables that are in there, or we use the other room.
It's not our place either, so it's like, oh, which room are we gonna have?
We don't know which room we're gonna have. We do it actually, if you'd like to know, it's at the Anatolia Clubhouse in Rancho Cordova. A couple of my leaders actually live in Anatolia, and they were super sweet to say, how about we use the clubhouse at our housing complex? And so we're blessed to be able to use it. I'm thankful that we're able to use it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, but again, as it grows, like right now it fits because we don't have a lot of people, but like this last week, they were painting. And so we had to meet in the cafe area, and there was no closed doors. And I really want it to be a safe place. And there's like people walking in and out. So it was kind of awkward.
Yeah. I'm
praying that the painting, I'm going to have to ask Kevin and Michelle, is the painting going to be done? I think it will be. But just to have a bigger space, and just to have, like if we wanted to play dodgeball, or, something that where we would have like a, kind of like at the church, like how we had such a big area like that, but I'm trying to, not that I have a problem with the church, but I know there's some kids that won't come to church, and so I'm trying to keep it, of course, everything that I try to teach is all centered in God and in the Bible, what I've learned from walking with God. But not all kids want to come to church for either whatever reason. Maybe they've been church hurt. Maybe they think that's lame. And I'm going to trick them and get them to talk about
they think it's lame until they know that it's really not lame.
Right.
I was going to say, I would love if we do some more hands-on lessons.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily we have to go spend a whole bunch of money once a week. More like you can bring like pieces of paper and like drawing materials or some sort of like hands-on lesson that we can sit together and all just go in our minds and like just be hands on, like
Well, that lesson.
pastel.
Well, do you remember the lesson we did when Kevin brought all the broken pieces of marble and we made the clocks?
Yes.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, just lessons like that. I think it all works our mind, and
Yeah.
I really like those type of lessons.
Yeah, me too.
I think I'm just really a visual and hands-on learner.
I mean, that's the way I learned too. So, I mean, I've tried to, like we did the masks one and you guys were like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this.
The balloon?
No, the ones where I brought the masks and we had to write like, who do we pretend to be on one side? You guys were like, I don't want to write that. So sometimes we're not as receptive to it, but I will try to work in.
I think we've grown over the months.
Yeah.
I think we would be open-minded
to be more open to it. Okay, well, cool. I'm glad. Thank you for the feedback. Because now when I'm writing lessons, because I am writing these lessons, I usually write them within the week. Like I don't know what we're learning Tuesday yet. Mm-hmm. God just usually lays it on my heart what to talk about. Because my plan is I'm writing a lesson book. And then when I have a year's worth of lessons, I plan to patent it and then hopefully be able to sell it as the churches do, so that I have money to be able to put back into the program, because we want to be able to take like the Smash Room thing and we want to be able to take field trips.
You can make a fun, like as our group gets bigger, we can make like a funding thing, but people don't have to put money in. No, but it goes towards our food, our activities.
Because we feed them every week, guys, just so you know. We feed them every week. Yeah. Right now, we're not having to pay for the space because we don't have enough kids. But eventually, as we get more kids, I have to pay $10 each kid a week.
Oh, really?
Which is fine. Kevin said he had this really good idea that we could find somebody to sponsor a kid. Yeah. So like pay the $10 for each kid a week. You know what I'm saying? And so we have ideas. And if you would like to donate to this, I would appreciate it.
It would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, because we have an idea already. In summer, we want to go do paintball wars. Mm-hmm. And so obviously those things cost money. And so right now, I have a couple of people, Roxanne and Wayne, they give to the program. And then Michelle and Kevin, they usually cook and bring the food. And so we all kind of work together to make it work. And then I have one friend, Stephanie. Thank you. Shout out to Stephanie. She is faithful. She donates to the ministry every month. That helps me to run this podcast, that helps me to have, because, I'm balling on a budget over here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I don't have a lot of extra money, but any extra money I do have from my own bills, I do pour back into the ministry and in the ways that I operate it. But if you would like to give, I will drop my Venmo in the chat or whatever down below. I'll figure out the link. Yeah. Yeah. I have them all here. I'll hold it up so you can scan it. Mm-hmm. No, actually somebody told me that I should there's a way to put your little Venmo in the corner on the screen.
I can probably figure that out.
Oh, bet. Okay. See? Making things. This is why we need community. We need people to work together. We just talked about this last week. Amen. About not having that we get pride issues where we were hurt in the past from like maybe asking help from somebody and then they didn't help us or like made us feel stupid about asking for help. And so then it develops this pride in me like, well, I'll just do it myself. And I've struggled with that. It's hard for me to do technology type stuff. And so I don't really know what I'm doing. And so awesome, Jaden, you're going to help me because I need help just because I want to make this better. Like this is one of my goals for this year is to make this podcast better and to just be able to reach more people. And unfortunately, everything takes money.
Don't give up.
No, I'm
just
not.
Keep on producing videos and one day,
and make sure it's not on mute.
Make sure it's not on mute.
He teases me so much, y'all. He sent me a video of him and his friends kicking it the other night. I woke up to it. And he's like, hey, guys, turn this up. Turn it up some more. And then he's like, oh, shoot, Janelle. I was laughing so hard when I watched that because.
Shout out Byron.
Yeah, exactly. All of his friends that are going to watch this.
But I do hope that, one day it'll all be successful.
It is successful now.
Well, it's successful now.
Thriving, provided for, and all.
I just know that God will make sure that everything works out at the end.
It is, yeah, He does. Because honestly, I didn't think I would be able to do any of this, and it's happening.
The very first time I was on your podcast, I think it took me a while to go to sleep the night before because I was just so it's new. It's such a new thing, you know.
I used to be super nervous when I did this, and my kids would make fun of me because I'd go, "Hello, thank you for," and I'd have like this super fake voice. And my goddaughter in Texas, she'd call me and be like, "Bro, who is that on there?" She's like, "You don't even talk like that."
Yeah.
She's like, "If I had turned on that podcast one more time and I hear hello," she's like, "I'm not watching it." And then Lexi made fun of me too. Mom, you sound like a robot.
Sometimes it takes that.
But
those put people to push you to grow and
well, and not
do
just
different
that.
things.
The more I did it, like Jaden's saying, he's way more comfortable this time because he's done it already. I mean, granted, nobody heard it.
Yeah.
But you can watch it.
Good podcast.
It's a really good podcast. But the more you do things, and as Jaden learned in that program, and you push past the uncomfortability of things, the easier things become.
Yeah.
You know, it just causes us to grow, it causes us to change, and it causes us to become more the person that God intends for us to be. So, okay, well, I want to thank you, Jaden, for not only coming on here, but coming on here again so that we can record it with actual sound so people can hear what we're saying.
And I'm sure this won't be the last time.
No, not at all. And then one of my other youth students the other night when we were talking about it, he's like,
yeah.
"Hey, I want to be on it." So I'm like, cool. I don't know what he'll want to talk about, but maybe one time I could get a couple of you, but yeah, that would be a good one. A couple of you guys, and we can just all just have like a conversation.
Or record it live on Tuesday
night. That would be kind of cool. That would be cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd have to get permission from their parents.
Yeah.
Like I have permission from your dad. So thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. We appreciate it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, share all the good things. Hope you will tune in next week, and thanks. Bye.
Thank you.